Are you stuck? How about unhappy? Join Alena Chapman, author, mentor, and life coach for Magical Moments with Alena as she challenges you to get out of the doldrum and start living your life to the fullest. In just 60 minutes, Alena will help you take control of your life and push you to do the things you never thought you'd do. So get ready to take back your power and celebrate life with Magical Moments featuring Alena Chapman.
Welcome to Magical Moments, and I'm your host, Alena Chapman. And I'll tell you what, guys, you really do deserve the ease and flow in your life. We're not supposed to have to struggle all the time. We're supposed to learn and experience, but that doesn't mean we can't have ease and flow, I'm telling you. And I got an awesome magical nugget and a wonderful guest. We're going to switch gears upon our health. And, I started thinking about this because we always look at our health when everything's so dire. And this, by the way, this is our magical nugget. So, we don't wait until we are sick to say we're sick. We don't wait until we have a dire disease before we say, oh, we got to change our stuff. And then after the scare of that disease is done, we go back to our old habits. I've seen it over and over and over and over again. So this is the thing. Mind, body, spirit. We're put into these awesome vessels. Our soul is put into these awesome vessels so that we can function on this planet, so that we can experience everything, so that we can live our lives to the absolute fullest, whatever that means. And here's the thing, if we're bothered by something that is chronic, that's just not right, it hampers our ability to live life by the fullest. And this is what we have to see in our lives. And I want to ask you, how many of you are maybe driving, sitting at home? How many of you are having a tightness in your groin? Yeah, in your groin. Because that tightness in your groin, in your lower abdomen, is a sign of stress. How many of you feel your shoulders pulling forward? Stress. These are signs, your early signs that the body's giving you that things are getting to you. It's intuition, and it's your body saying, help. Little ways, help, and you are ignoring it. So, how can we start to help ourselves to notice these things about our body? Well, I have a guest today that we're going to really dive into this topic. And then I'll have a tool at the end myself that I'll give. So by the end of this show, you won't be having that stress, or when you feel that stress in the lower groin, you're going to say, wait a minute, that is really, my whole abdomen is tight. Why? My shoulders are hunched forward. Why? And then you'll start correcting it. But how do you correct it? That's what's important. Now, Shelly Haynes. She's a certified health and wellness coach residing in Austin, Texas, and serving people nationwide online. She provides her health coaching and wellness mentoring. Online's good since we're always on this COVID thing. She helps motivate her clients crowd out the noise and focus on getting healthier with or without chronic fatigue. All right, now, she also applies everything she has learned from her story, which we are going to learn right now, and from her training. She has recovered from her health, and she knows the real truth. It is not only about eating right, exercising more, and managing stress. And no, it is not only that. So with that, I'd like to bring on Shelly Haynes. Hello, Shelly.
Hello, Alena.
How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and and talk a little bit about health and wellness.
Oh, I'm excited to have you on because you really do know your stuff about this topic. And health and wellness, oh my gosh, we need it. When that is not good, it doesn't matter on anything else in the world because we are not feeling at our best,
Yeah. And unfortunately, we don't know until it might be just a little too late. And it takes a lot more to get back to where we want to be.
It really does. So tell us your story. Why are you doing what you do? Why are you helping others to gain their health and wellness?
Well, I have a really interesting story, but it's not unique, unfortunately. There's a lot of other people suffering from illnesses that I have suffered from. But in my 20s, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I went to like a dozen doctors, and the root cause they ended up figuring out was I had this chronic like viral infection, like super common viral infection, but because my immune system wasn't functioning properly due to stress, my body wasn't really able to fight it off like it should. So I was in my 20s.
In your 20s, and that's interesting. It's not because of other underlying health issues that was enabling you to heal from this chronic virus in your system. It was the stress that was hampering your healing, correct?
Yeah, it was stress.
That's amazing.
It really is.
It's amazing what stress does. We just don't realize, and yet we pride ourselves on this stress thing, and it's just so unhealthy for us. So, and then how did you started to come awake? You got the scare. Remember in my magical nugget, I was talking about we all get the scare. And then we overnight, we're like, oh my gosh, I got to change my ways. Oh my gosh. And then the next morning, we're eating a cheeseburger. We're going back to the stressful job. We're smoking. Some people smoke. Whatever it is, we're going back to our old habits, everything that got us sick in the first place.
Yeah, like you really nailed it there. So I was in my 20s. I had no idea I was stressed. I thought this was just normal life things. And once I did get the scare, I was like, okay, that's it. I went and got, my workout videos. I got my nutritional shakes, and I started stretching and doing all these things. But it only lasted for a short period of time. And I kept saying to myself, gosh, when is this going to fix itself? When is this going to get better? Like, I'm doing all the things, but nothing's changing. What I hadn't changed was my relationship stress and like the work stress and just kind of figuring out where I wanted to really go in life. And those things take time.
Yeah, we have to talk. Can we dissect that?
Sure.
Okay, let's dissect. Let's start with relationship stress, because most of us don't even worry about that. We think, we have our friends, we have the lover that we are supposed to have, we have the parents that we should love and honor beyond all means, we have the brothers and sisters that we grew up with and we wonder why. But anyway, we have all this and we don't think of it as stress. But how is it stressful?
I guess it can be stressful, if you're not in the most supportive relationship that's going to be supportive for you and like what your needs are. Or sometimes you take on too much in a relationship.
Oh, that's very big. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need to explain a little more about that too, because what do you mean you take on too much in a relationship?
Well, sometimes you can take on too much to just a lot of the like everyday type task, or even like just taking on like the growth of the relationship. And I think that can become draining sometimes. And then sometimes you don't have enough boundaries too, in terms of where is your self-care time, where is your me time, so you can really take care of yourself first, right? Because you have to take care of yourself first before you can really be good for other people.
You really do. In any relationship, you have to have that time for yourself. You have to feel, I think everyone out there, everything you do, it is so important that you do it to your best ability, that you have that clarity, that focus, that laser beam focus, that feeling of, I can do this. And leave out the regret, leave out the feeling put upon. And when we don't take care of ourselves and we allow our cup inside us to just be drained because we're giving, especially in a relationship, and you got to look at that. If you're being the one who's giving all the time and the other person's just, hey, I like this is cool. But you're working so hard, and when you stop, nothing happens. That's not a good relationship. That is a very topsy-turvy one, and it's all leaning on you. You've got to take a look. You owe it to yourself. We're not here to take on other people's problems. We're not here to fix someone. We're not here to do the ideal picket fence, 2.5 children, whatever that means, the perfect ideal, live the dream kind of thing. We are here to try to experience new people, to be with that person who loves us beyond all means. We are worth it. Yeah, and I think we push ourselves into relationships because we think we have to, like hanging out at school with all the people who you think are your friends, but they're really negative and they're heavy. That's stress too, isn't it, Shelly?
It really is. And it's not an obvious stress to us. It's kind of a really subtle, it's like the backseat stress. And that can sometimes be the worst.
Because you don't recognize it.
Yeah.
I used to feel it in the morning. I'd drop my kids off and then sit and talk. And it was always really negative. And I'd go back to my car and I thought, I don't want to do anything for the rest of the day. I just feel yuck.
Yeah, just completely just drained of all your energy. And that's a moment for you to recognize, okay, something's off, right? There's not something's out of balance for me. And I really need to take a look at this and kind of see what's happening, and try to dissect it a little bit.
And let's talk about boundaries within families, because that's where it's the hardest. You can have boundaries with the friends and you can have the boundaries, but you're talking about your mom and dad, you're talking about your brothers and your sisters, your cousin, your Uncle Fred. How do you have boundaries with these people?
That's a tough one, but it can be done. And I think just through communicating really well that you need boundaries without really saying it, I think probably would be the best way. I don't know. Do you have any good ideas on that one?
I do, because I have some of that family. So I had to, and with my mom in the earlier days when she first moved out here, and once all the dust had settled, I had to set up boundaries, and that's the thing. Boundaries has such a bad connotation in that I'm going to be alone on this island, and that's not the object of boundaries. I mean, I've seen people just say, "Nope, can't see you." And they end up all alone, and that's no better. So you're right, Shelly, you don't want to have boundaries where you are alienating yourself. And you don't want them to know you're really putting up boundaries. With my mom, she has a way of not being so nice, okay? And so every time she would start in about me, I would say, okay, oh, Mom, I love you. I got to go. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Give her a kiss. And I was out the door or I'd be off the phone. And I did that 3 times. And all of a sudden, she's not doing that anymore. I've set up a boundary. I set up boundaries with people just by saying, you can say what you want to say, but I don't have to stay and listen. And I love you with all my heart, but no, this isn't for me. And just And it takes them no time to understand the connection unless they're really not with it. And then you have to be a little bit more. And if you're at a party, you don't have to leave the whole party. We have celebrations coming up and Christmas. Just leave the room. They'll get the hint. They'll see. They know what they're doing. And you know what happened from that? My mom and I, before she got sick, were really starting to develop a relationship we had never had before. Isn't that amazing?
That's exciting. Yeah. Just because you think the healthy boundaries really helped.
Yes. It's saying, Mom, guess what? I'm not that little girl anymore. I'm not going to take it. And I think it helped her see me in a new light. And we actually really talked. And I could actually talk to her. And it was nice. I had never really been able to do that my whole life. So the healthy boundaries is to help form good relationships. It's not to get rid of every relationship that is what you deem not so hot for you. And really, we teach people how to treat us. And when we get that idea in our heads, then we act accordingly to get the results we want to get in the relationship. Do you see?
Yes. We accept what we would tolerate for ourselves.
Exactly.
And sometimes we have to empower ourselves to get to that point. There's a little bit of work that I feel like that would need to be done for some people.
I like that.
Used to just accepting whatever comes at them. And it can be very harsh on your spirit, and on your emotional self and identity. So, that's
well, you do. It's not for the faint of heart. You do have to build up yourself. And for you, I see your point totally. You have to be strong. If you're used to being beat up all the time, you're used to people verbally not being nice to you, it's very hard to take that first step and say, I love you, but I'm leaving, because there's anger inside, there's hurt inside, and there's a lack of confidence. You have to build yourself up first. But that's part of the healing process.
Yes, absolutely. That's it.
Yeah, because all that anger, all that angst inside is also making you sick.
Ta-da! Back to stress. Yeah. It's all there. And we don't think about how our emotional state can stress us out, So it's not just work stress. There's all types of little stressors in life that we don't really think about that can really just kind of take a toll on our immune system.
Would it be fair for me to say that, okay, my mom is my mom. My work is my work. My friends are my friends. The only equation that I can change in all of that is me and my perception of it. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, yes. I think that's probably exactly it. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, yes, I would say. Yeah. Yes, because I think it's not, okay, just like with my mom, she's my mom. It's like a table or a chair. I hate to say that, it's not my mom's a table and a chair, but it is what it is. My mom is who she is. I am not going to change her. We always think we can change everybody. Guys, no, you cannot. And that's a terrible thing because that's taking away free will. So you're not going to change that person. Your job is just a job. It's neither good nor is it bad. Your kids are neither good nor bad. It's how you are looking at it. It's how you are programming yourself, your stuff that comes in and alters your perception. I always say a person can look at a tree. You get 2 or 3 people looking at a tree, and every single one will see something different. They'll still see a tree, but it'll be a different kind of tree. As far as the leaves are greener or softer, the bark is rough. No, it's smooth. You'll get all these weird, different points of view because everybody has a different perception. And so when you are going to your work or you're going to deal with a relationship, they're just who they are. It's you and how you see it and how you mold it in your mind and in your reality to make it be what you want it to be. If you're stuck, your parents are your parents. Maybe you can't leave your job. So how do you make that so that you can make it thrive instead of be horrid and stressful? And it's really up to you to do that. It's up to us to do everything. I mean, it is us. Do you have anything to add to that, Shelly?
Yeah, it is really up to us. I think like reframing is a really good technique that can be used when you're in those types of situations, or if you have a really challenging situation, in your life, kind of reframing it and seeing it always as a learning opportunity. So you're really kind of functioning at like your higher self, I would say.
Yes.
Or trying to function at your higher self, and so that you can thrive.
I love that concept. Give us an example of how we would reframe a situation.
Yeah. So let's say you had like a really difficult situation at work where maybe you weren't communicating well with one of your coworkers or superiors.
Perfect.
And you can, something as simple as changing that to, well, this could be a really good learning opportunity for me to try to be the one who can communicate better or kind of work through this and add to my own skills. It's just a learning opportunity. So it's kind of like trying to see things with the glass half full, I would say.
I love it because really it is a learning opportunity because everything's an experience. Yeah. I think learning how, even with my mom, I could have stayed in that, oh gosh, she's doing it again, la, 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 la. Or I could say, I did say, how can I change this situation so that we can thrive together? And then all of a sudden it becomes a game. And it's a game that you're in control of. And folks, that's really life. If you apply that to everything, say there's an obstacle at work. Oh no, look at that terrible problem. We got a problem. Everybody get on board. We got a problem. Or you say, okay, all right, I don't like what's happening. How can I change it? How can I make this what I want? And that's perception, that's strategic, baby steps. There's that word again. It's doing things to make a difference and make your reality. This is the thing, folks. Everything happens inside of us first. We have to build the confidence. We have to heal from our stuff. We have to understand the stress inside ourselves. We have to understand us. And we have to be comfortable with who we are. So you got to do the work. But then, when you come to looking out into the world, if there's something that you don't like, you don't have to shove it off into Never Never Land, because there's going to be a lot of things. You're going to have new challenges. You're going to have people that you have to work with that you don't like. You're going to have that your spouse is suddenly going to change into a monster with green eyes. You've got to figure out how to treat it more like an experience. And I always like to think of it as a game. Mm-hmm. How can I use what I have inside? How can I make this situation into something that's fun? Always have to have that fun. And is something that's going to grow and my work. And this challenge, how can we get through this and actually learn from it and not just treat it like a problem? It's a different way of looking at things. And that's the higher self-perception.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. And, everything that you're saying and mentioning is like all these kind of concepts come up in just health and wellness in general, and meeting these health and wellness goals and trying to lose weight and eat better and making it a game versus like a chore.
Yes. I know. We make life so freaking heavy.
We do. No wonder we're all stressed out.
I agree. You know what I did, Shelly? I'd like to hear your opinion on this.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So I went on, actually, it was hardest. It was really hard, folks. I went on a 7-day fast. Now, no, it wasn't a 7-day fast where you have juice or you have anything. You have water. That's it for 7 days. And my kids, and I'll tell you, oh, Shelly, when you have kids and you try to do this, I don't know why, but everybody was making chocolate chip cookies. That was so cruel. And then they would leave them on the counter. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the resolve I have not to have those chocolate chip cookies. So I go upstairs and say, please get rid of those chocolate chip cookies. Eat them, pack them where I can't see them. But I did a 7-day fast. I didn't necessarily do it. I was trying to reset my body. And also, that was one thing, and change the pH. But then I also was doing it for sacred reasons. But have you ever done a fast?
I haven't. And I applaud you for doing that, because I don't think I could do it, and that's why I haven't done it. It's the emotional, turmoil of cravings. But I know that goes away.
It does. Well, in reality, I'd love to say, everyone's saying, oh, by the 3rd day, you will have so much energy and you'll be great. Oh, no. No. 3, 4, 5, no. Everyone, you're listening to Magical Moments, and I'm your host, Alena Chapman. Come back and learn, are these fasts really important to us? And what can we do? How can we reset our bodies if we need it?
You're listening to Magical Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you find your inner purpose. Learn more online at soulmanifesto.com.
Welcome back to Magical Moments. I'm your host, Alena Chapman, and we're all about that ease and betterment in your world, your life. And sometimes that ease and betterment comes with a little bit of work or trial. And so we're talking about the fast. And as I was saying, I have done a fast to reset my body, change my pH, and also it was for sacred reasons. It was to wake up in some ways, and I did fully. And I also gained this really incredible calm, and I don't think that's ever going to leave anymore. It's a calm that, it's like this change in perception that has settled in, a calm in me. And I don't know, I've got to think more on it and how to describe it to you, but it's really worth it because I don't feel that stress. My abdomen is loosey-goosey and my shoulders are droopy. Well, not droopy, they're back, but they're, relaxed. I don't feel that tenseness. And it's nice. It's so nice. But Shelly, I want to see what you think about this wonderful fasting thing. I know you've heard the juice fast. There's so many different fasts out there. What do you think about resetting the body? Let's just talk about the body half of it, not the spiritual half of it.
Yeah, fasting's it's just historically been practiced around the world for spiritual and religious reasons. I think it's a great way to reset your body. What your body does during that time is it kind of recycles out all the cell material. And so you're kind of you're having a natural detox, which is great.
It is.
It's a good way to get started. If you want to start to lose weight, because you kind of push through all the cravings and everything. And then you're emotionally kind of set to really start eating healthy, I would feel right? Eating really clean.
Yes. And I wouldn't crash and burn. You know what I mean? So listen, in all honesty, I could have been the poster child for caffeine because I love caffeine. I love it. And it doesn't even do anything for me. I love the taste. I love caffeine. So I thought, oh my gosh, if I get on this fast, I am going to die. I am going to get the worst migraines of my life. I really was scared. And I thought, oh, this is not good. So I started to wean that before I even went on. I started to detox from my caffeine before I even went cold turkey. Cold turkey is harsh, guys. So if you're on sugar, start to wean it, because I didn't get one headache. 7 days, no headache. No having to go through that withdrawal thing. Yeah. It's really important, and it does reset your body. And from there, I want to talk about the food, because now that I'm out of that fast, I'm really, okay, so last night I did have a little bit of something I probably not going to have most of the time. But I'll tell you what, I'm really changing how I eat. And I want to talk about this because this is important. We talk about health and we talk about, exercise and yoga and mind-body connection. But did we ever think that the stuff we're feeding ourselves muddies our brain? Do we ever think that stuff we're feeding ourselves makes us not clear? The stuff we're drinking puts on early onset of dementia, cancer. Do we ever think about it's what we're putting in our mouths? Shelly, can you enlighten people a little bit more on that?
Yeah, that's a very big topic.
Yes, I know.
It's huge. And, I think becoming knowledgeable of what you should be eating and what you shouldn't be eating is key. And that's reading labels. And a lot of people just don't have the patience or the time or to really look into that. It can be really simple eating healthy. There's a lot of really bad choices out there. And so there's a lot of noise too. What I should eat, what I shouldn't eat, and all this thing.
Yeah.
Very, very simple.
It's so simple.
It really is.
I think if you got to stay, if you stay with the milk products, you may still have and actually this comes from a sacred, this is the Essenes. Way back, I want to give a little bit of history on this. Way back in the time of Jesus, we're going way back, there were the Pharisees, the Jewish. This was before Christianity, everyone. And there were the Pharisees, the Jewish, the Hermeneutes, which was more like science that reached a spiritual level, but it was very scientific talking. That's where we get our universal laws. We get the vibration, the understanding of vibration. And if you look at that even deeper like they did, oh my gosh, it's so fascinating and extremely spiritual, but it was science. And then you have the Essenes. And the Essenes were thought of the holders of the light at that time. And they are where, when I went back studying, because I am a spiritual curator, I study constantly, I learn, I bring the nuggets to people. That's where I got the idea for the 7-day fast, to cast out the evils from our body, which are the toxins. And also the thought. You're so incredibly relaxed, guys. The thoughts just seem to go. Let's face it. But the thing is, although I was highly more effective, even in that calm state, oh my gosh, I was crystal clear on what I wanted. But all the other thoughts that didn't serve me were just like leaving. It's so weird. But this is the thing. They had a whole way of eating, and it's recorded in the Dead Sea Scrolls that Jesus said, and they called Jesus Yezu, or Yahshua. When you do this fast and then you eat this way, you are going to live long and healthy. Simple as that. And it was dairy, vegetables, and fruits. Sorry, that big giant cheeseburger is just not going to cut it, guys. And they said you would live, and nuts, things like that. It would give you a long, prosperous life and health. And when we start to, now I'm not saying everybody become a vegetarian. That is your choice. But processed foods, it didn't say run to the cookie counter. And back then they still had things that they did, and as much raw as you can do. You can have that soup, but also many things raw. Drink things more at a tepid instead of always really ice cold or really, really hot. Treat your body like a holy vessel that you're putting things in. You'll find that your mind clears up. It's amazing. It starts to get this, you're quicker. Your thought process, I didn't think my thought process could be quicker. It is so quick now. And it reasons things out on a dime. Why? Because my blood is flowing to my head. I'm getting oxygen. It's simple chemistry. It's very, Shelly, you should try it. You might find that all of a sudden, everything that you have just turns even better.
Yes, I believe it. I'm tinkering with intermittent fasting right now.
Oh, that's good. I've done that too. Continue that. That's important.
I think that's going to be a build up to a fast, a 7-day fast. There's a lot of research too that says that there is increased mental clarity while fasting. There's a growth factor called BDNF that increases while you're on the fast.
What is that? Do you know?
Really interesting. It says it's a brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and it really helps with cognitive-related deficiencies and supports growth and survival of your neuron cells.
I found myself highly focused. When I made videos, because I'm making a lot of videos for people on YouTube and on Facebook and things. I mean, when I was on, oh my gosh, there could be a fire in the house and I would not break. You know what I mean? I was just so razor focused. But I'll tell you, it also opens up the pineal gland or the third eye. It opens up sight. I mean, and just the connection is just clear as a bell. And I think that, that's so important for people. I think being connected to God's source, to our universe, is what gives us strength on this earth. And if we're eating stuff that is mucky, that clogs us, that slows us down, that all the blood has to go to our stomach to digest it every minute, and we're eating many, many meals, and the many, many meals are not many, many good things. We don't need that many meals. We're not that active. We're not all athletes. At least I'm not. But if we eat these things that cloud us, then it crowds our connection. It crowds our thinking. It crowds our ability to deal in life. It crowds our connection to God and the divine. I mean, it's so worth it, folks. And I think you should always check with your doctor. Don't say, Alena said, and I went on the 7-day fast. You got to check with your doctor with whatever's going on in your life. But especially if you've got health issues. But, I think that it's a wonderful way. There's so many levels that it helps. And I think we are killing ourselves. Quite frankly, I think we are killing ourselves. And we try so hard, but yet we're pushed food. You drive down the road, there is not one healthy place, fast food or anything that you can really go and trust it. You have to do it on your own. So when we are getting more clarity, and even in your intermittent fasting, which is very important, it's been proven over and over how important it is to give the body a relaxation. What are you finding in your intermittent fasting?
I'm finding that it's helping with sustaining healthy energy levels. which is good, throughout the day, and not necessarily needing as much caffeine or like pick-me-up type snacks or anything like that.
Yeah, you don't get that lull.
Yeah, and you're just not hungry all the time. We do eat a lot. I mean, we don't really need to eat as much as we're eating every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a midday snack. And our portion sizes are just out of control. So your body is really smart and like knows what it needs. So knowing the difference between emotional eating, like eating because there's an emotion attached to it or stress, and versus just what your body needs are two different things. And so fasting, intermittent fasting, and probably fasting allows your body to really do the talking and what it really needs.
It was funny. When I was on the 7-day fast, I learned something about myself. I was a trigger eater, but the triggers were all over the place. Meaning, you come home, you want to relax. Oh, you grab a little snack. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't grab that little snack. And my body was like, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? I had to do something else. I found that all these little triggers they were totally subconscious. It unearthed little triggers where I was grabbing a little here, a little there, a little, and it wasn't even coming into my conscious mind. Isn't that amazing? Now that's gone. It's all gone. All the triggers are gone.
I believe it. You kind of get to shed all that stuff, right?
Yes.
When you go through the fast.
Yeah. It's like it really does reset your mind, body, and opens up your soul. So I really think that do you have to fast? Well, I do think it's a good idea, but that's me. And I'm not a doctor. I never said I was. A spiritual curator, yes. A doctor, no. But I do think some sort of fasting does reset everything about you and change your perception. It really does change. But the thing is, with the moving forward in your life, you got to start to assess where you are in your body. Where are you in your emotions? The emotions affect the body. The lack of exercise affects the body. Shelly, give us a good plan, because we've given people we got them shedding all that emotion they don't like. Now they know how to create good boundaries. Now they might go on a fast or might not. But they're really, how do they've got a lot of information, but can you put it together? How should people get started on assessing their life?
Well, you've really got to, I think I talked about this last time, but you have to know your why, because otherwise you really lose the motivation. Like when you had the fast, this was going to be a spiritual connection. That was probably your why. I would say
that was it. Yeah.
So really digging into that and making your why so powerful that you wouldn't give up. And if you do, you kind of need to backtrack and go back to your, why am I doing this?
You're 100% correct. I mean, you are. If I didn't have that why, oh my gosh, those chocolate chip cookies and that smell would have just killed me, Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's true, all those little sabotages. And when the kids brought home pizza, I don't even like pizza, but that smell and you're so hungry. Oh my God, there's no way I could have said no. But because I had my why and it was bigger than myself, I didn't really care if I lost weight or not. It was the spiritual aspect. And I really think that, I wouldn't have been able to stay strong. You have to have a why. What's another thing? That's a really good one.
Yeah, finding out your why, and then just getting a pretty decent exercise plan in, checking on your sleep. Are you getting good sleep or not?
That's so important too.
It really is. And then kind of monitoring your stress levels. Like, am I really stressed? And then once you kind of have that, then you can put together, I feel like, a plan in each of those areas, because you really have to address nutrition, sleep, your stress, and then what are you doing physically for your body? We really need all of these things in order to I feel like if you're in a really good place from a fast, that's a really, to address those places is a really good place to start.
That is good. Those are good. Those are neat and easy, and people can do them. I was thinking when you were talking about stress, it's so funny. We talk about corona, we talk about all this other stuff, but stress kills. And it kills strong. And it's also the beginning of all these chronic diseases. Stress is probably the worst thing. That's the epidemic. That's the true epidemic. And I think, we've got to learn when we're stressed. We've got to come back to a place of status quo that we know is our calm body, because we're triggered for stress. Come on. I mean, seriously. Elementary school. I was so stressed when those nuns would line us up and say, okay, here we go. We're in 2 lines. And I was always the first one to sit down. Well, number one, I had dyslexia. And so you put me under that stress. And it's like my stomach would get so tight. I was only 10 years old. And I was already a nervous wreck going through that stupid line. And then you go into college or you go into high school and everything is stress, you got to get this in, you got to get this in. You have like 5,000 different assignments due on the same day. It's just stress. And then you go to the job and the job is stress. You have kids. Kids can be stressful, folks. You have that stress and lack of sleep. Your body has grown up with stress. And I think to myself, where did it go wrong? Where did we go wrong? Why do we think stress is the way to be? And we've got to get ourselves back to a status quo. And the only way I know, and Shelly, I want you to give me one way, but I really think that we have to stop. We have to stop. And through meditation, through walking in the woods, being in the present moment, not thinking as I'm walking in the woods about my project I have to do or the kids I have to pick up. No, in the present moment. Hug a tree. I'm serious. No, seriously. We went, I had just come off this fast. This is funny. I was just coming off the fast and we went apple picking. And I'm with my youngest son, who's taller than me, and we're picking apples. And every time I picked an apple, I said, thank you to the tree. And then sometimes I'd even give a little kiss and I'd say, thank you so much for sharing your bounty, right? My son looks at me and goes, did you just thank the tree? I said, yes, it's an energy. Why wouldn't I thank it? Oh, and he goes, oh, Mom, oh, Mom, oh, Mom. And but yet I have this incredible insight now. I see the energy. I feel the energy. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, of course I'm going to thank that tree. But for him who doesn't see it, feel it, he's like, really, Mom? Really? Really? Don't let anybody see you. So anyway, just a fun little fact there. But it's the status quo. But yet I was probably the most relaxed person at that whole orchard. So there you go. So let's talk a little bit about stress. The meditation is the only real way that I see, and simplifying. Meditation and simplifying are the 2 real ways to start to get back to the status quo of how we're supposed to feel. And Shelly, I'd love for you to either extend on that or tell me more about or another exercise that maybe I'm not thinking of.
Yeah, so meditation is great. It is one of my go-tos, and I do meditate every day. There's a lot of different meditations out there. I highly encourage everyone to find a style of meditation that works for them, that's easy, because you really have to, you have to disconnect and you have to unplug, right?
Yeah,
and
you have to find your status quo.
Yeah.
What your body's supposed to feel like.
Yeah, exactly. And I think some people are not even sure, to be honest.
I know.
Because it's just, even since when they were young, it's just constantly just stress, all types of things. So you have to make time to unplug. And some tips that I always like to give are like smile, just smile on a daily basis and make
that's
sure
big.
You're laughing and like there's some humor in your life, and make sure that you're able to tap into your creativity, whatever that might look like, and have healthy connections with people around you, or find things that make you feel connected and grounded and like unplugged.
Unplugged. Big.
Yeah, unplugged. Yeah, and that's the screens, right?
Right.
And the tablets and the social media and all that.
Unplugged. I love it. And I love when you said smile. Do you know many people go through the day without smiling? And they go without music. There are people that go throughout the whole day without music and a smile. I can't imagine going one day without those. I just can't imagine. The music brings you higher. It's like a natural high. And smiling, I think that's so good. Smiling just releases so much. It's like, you know what? It's not so bad. It just gives you that wonderful feeling. This isn't so bad. And I love the idea of staying connected and grounded. Really, celebrating with friends more. Letting your guard down. Let your guard down. That's so much work and so stressful. Let down the guard. Be with friends. Be with loved ones. Let it down. Be the you. And if they don't like it, oh, well, that's the way it goes. Just create the relaxation and happiness around you. One thing I find very important is organization. Don't you, Shelly? Because if I can't find my keys, that's an instant stress thing. And it's a stress thing as you're walking out the door, which then sets off your whole day in the car, which sets your day off in the workplace. Am I right?
Yes, definitely. You definitely want to try to stay organized as much as possible. It's just those little things, that can really get in the way. And that made me think of taking like a stress inventory of your life, like taking an inventory of what is stressing you out at this moment and kind of looking at it like, okay, what do I really need to keep? What can I delegate? What can I just get rid of right now?
Yeah, I like that. There's so many ways we stress ourselves out. So how do people get hold of you, Shelly, if they are wanting to learn more and they really want to de-stress?
So you can find me on Google if you just type in Lemons to Mint. That's the name of my health coaching business, and I also offer wellness mentoring. So if it's more, you're not connected to goals per se, and you just want suggestions and advice and mentoring, I also offer that. And it's www.lemons2mint.com.
I love that. Yeah, that's cute. I like that. Lemons to mint. Oh, that's very cool. I love it. Well, we have so enjoyed having you. And everyone out there, you owe it to yourself to start to get back to that status quo where your body's supposed to be, not where everybody tells you they must be. That's what's causing the stress. You're not living in your truth. And I mean, you're not living in the calm and what really is the truth. You're letting everybody else stress you. Meeting deadlines, meeting overcommitment, meeting overwhelmness. No. So, and also, I want to let you know at Soul Manifesto, which you know is my company by now, we are offering that wonderful 7-day reset for your inner calm. And that's where I'm giving you 7 days. You get to see me every day for 7 days on a video. You lucky people, you. And you get to learn different techniques. I have drawn from some of the greatest meditations in the world, short meditations so that you're grounded when you go into a meeting, that the butterflies don't get so out of hand that you can't, that handicap you. How do you get grounded and in control and full of intention and full of what you want to create, and instead of letting all that other stuff get in the way? How do you get yourself focused? And so if you're interested, 7-day reset to reclaim your inner core is there on Soul Manifesto. So check that out. And also check out Soul Manifesto. My gosh, that website has just changed. You might really like just looking around. Anyway, you owe it to yourself. You do an assessment. Are you always tight? Are you snappy? Are you drained? Take a look at you. Everything starts, my dears, with you. Remember that love is spirit, and spirit is love. But to find that love, you gotta get yourself in shape. You gotta get back to the status quo of where you're meant to be. I'm Alena Chapman, and I'm so glad you joined us on Magical Moments.
This has been Magical Moments with Alena, featuring Alena Chapman. If you missed an episode, download it now on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, CastBox, Deezer, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast platform. Learn more online at soulmanifesto.com.